Hi guys, it's Marissa from Prickly Pear Design Co. In this video, I'm going to share 4 tips that are going to make you look like a pro when using the background remover tool in Canva. Let's get started. Tip number 1, you want to pick images that have a strong depth of field. Now, you've all seen images that have this, but you may not know exactly what you're looking for with that term, depth of field, and that's okay. Depth of field is just a fancy way a photographer creates distance in an image. If you look at this image with the woman in her sundress in the field of flowers, you can see that what's closest to us is the woman, and what's furthest away are the flowers. Some are close, but they're at least so much further away from us than the woman. She's the very closest thing to us in the image, right? Okay, not all photographs have blurry backgrounds, but when you're looking for really strong depth of field, you'll often find blurry backgrounds. So tip number 1 is look for strong depth of field, aka blurry backgrounds, to put to use when you're using the background remover tool. Here's an example. We took our girl in her sundress from her field of flowers and went ahead and put her right here, staring out at a sunset or sunrise at the ocean. Tip number 2, you want to pick images that have a highly contrasted background. Now, if depth of field isn't something you're finding for images that kind of work for your project, then looking for a highly contrasted background would be your next step. These images both are very in focus. The first option would be is to find high contrast, meaning a solid background like these pencils. So the pencils are all colored, but the blue background is all one color. This will help Canva because it can tell that these are all pretty much the image you're focusing on, and it considers all this blue color that's all the same to be the background. If you can't find an image that has a solid background, looking for something that provides a lot of contrast, even when it's still in focus, is going to be your next best bet. Take this kid on his tricycle. We have kind of a patterned image with the green and then this brown bumpy walkway that he's riding on. But the big action of what's going on in a lot of colors and patterns that are all really close up is happening right here between his outfit and his trike, okay? The high contrast that you're looking for is specifically between this walkway and the wheels. The wheels are black. If the background on the walkway was dark gray, that would be not as much contrast. It's high contrast because this is kind of an orangey brown color against the black. The same thing holds true with this pattern or the corrugated green metal in the background. His white stripes really contrast against the green, as does the red. So when you're looking for high contrast, you're looking for colors that are very opposite, green and orange against white and red, as opposed to a lot of shades of blue or a lot of shades of blue and purple. Does that make sense? You'll think through what you know about the color wheel and the rainbow, and then try to pick colors that are opposite from whatever you're trying to extract. The third thing that I'd like to suggest for being an expert using the background remover tool is to avoid things hanging or falling off by providing a horizon line. Now, this girl is very much in focus, and we've got the blurry background in the back, so we've got high contrast going for us. But we don't have a ton of additional image of her body. In fact, it's cut off pretty much right above her waist. When we extract this, we need to think about the image that we're going to go ahead and put it into. I've selected a pretty similar background. Some of the trees are in focus, some of the trees aren't in focus, so that gives me that depth of field that we're going for. But this girl is standing on the snow. Let's scroll back up, and we're going to go ahead and work our magic right here. So we'll select our image, go to Effects, hit the background remover. Now, tip number 3 is to provide kind of a horizon line or a landing point for the images that you're going to go ahead and extract. So here she is. She extracted out great. We're going to hit Apply. Then I'm going to go ahead and just copy her and paste her onto this screen. Now, if I were just going to leave her here floating in the trees, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Moving her down to cover up this woman still doesn't make a ton of sense either because there's really not a horizon line. We expect to see the rest of her body. So instead, what we'll want to do is move her straight down to the bottom, kind of how her image was laid out originally when she was against the waves. And we may even want to increase her size just a little bit so we have more depth of field. To see this much of the tree in height means that she would be really close to us. So we might even want to expand her a little bit larger to give our eye that impression that she's very close and the tree is very far away. Tip number 4 is to pick images with similar lighting and then adjust as needed in Canva. Now, Canva is by no means a high-end photography manipulation software, but it does have some basic adjustment features. If you watched my video on how to use the background remover tool, you've probably seen this guy in his cool denim jeans standing on one foot before. I went ahead, he has a very basic background, and we extracted that blue background, then used the restore feature in the background remover tool to add in this pillar. So we'll take him and copy what was the result, and you'll notice that picking similar lighting is really important. If we paste him here in front of this landscape on the tree, he kind of fits, but you can tell the background image is very much an overcast, kind of hazy, stormy, foggy day. We see the light coming in still on his pants, so there's no light coming this direction across any of these images. But if we were looking at this in real life, that would be happening. We'd see some highlights on this side of the tree. So let's go ahead and find a second image right here and paste him in. If we leave him on this side of the image, it's a little bit harder to believe because we see such a definitive shadow straight down the middle of the street. However, if we look about where to place him and place him in the sunshine, we can imagine that the light's coming in from the right side of the screen and that this portion of his leg is highlighted, as is the stone that he's standing on, but that this side is slightly shaded just by the front portion of his body. So maybe he's kind of standing at a slight angle. This makes it a lot more believable. If we size him up just a little bit, then he looks very much closer to us than this tree, and that gives us a little bit more depth of field. So those are 4 tips that you can use to help make you an expert with the background remover tool in Canva.